In this overview, we're going to take a look at CoPilot and where it fits into your support model as you continue along your cloud journey. And it helps to think about the four core things that are happening with enterprise cloud adoption today. Well, first of all, everybody wants to move to cloud to gain these operational efficiencies, but the burden of managing at scale often negates the efficiency gains and speed that you're expecting. In addition, it takes a long time to grow those skills. You need to free people up so that they can be trained and be ready to, really work on these advanced services. You can certainly use outsourcing. Consultants can help fill your gaps temporarily, but your traditional support model will often still prevent your teams from learning and growing if you're not along for the ride with those consultants. And last but not least, advanced tooling is required to manage cloud complexities and compliance, and often this becomes a long-winded process when you're trying to select tools and trying to integrate them together. And so Copilot was really an answer to how do we support the business, how do we support the IT teams as they go through this transition and help you be more successful in cloud. Now, it helps to look at the support you need in three major categories. Where you do need support break fix from your cloud provider still. We're not looking to replace AWS or Azure support that you get in terms of day-to-day troubleshooting. Maybe there's an outage to a data center in Microsoft or AWS's data centers, and you need support there. You will continue to use your vendor there. Where Copilot really shines is in these two next areas. Reactive engineering, for one. This is the tactical architecture and engineering needed to support the business and your app teams as they work rapidly to consume cloud services. So what does that mean exactly? Well, often after you're in cloud, maybe you've put your first couple of workloads out there, the business or the app teams are coming to you directly to your infrastructure team saying, hey, I need help with this ARM template or CloudFormation template in AWS. I want to build this new application and use these, 10 new services that are available in the cloud. How do I do that? And so this concept of reactive engineering has become core to the support model. In addition, you've got proactive optimization that you just need to do. We want a well-oiled machine. We saw the VM sprawl days when virtualization took hold, but now with cloud, we need to make sure that our environment more so is secure and costs are under control, and this needs to be done proactively. Now, Copilot, as we mentioned, fits into these support requirements in two major areas. The reactive engineering is supported with Enablement Hour. So this is that tactical work that we need to support the business. And we do that via buckets of Enablement Hours. Think of them as rollover minutes on a cell phone plan where people are available to take on those tasks. And we'll go through more of those tasks shortly. Proactive optimization is handled by our Cloud Insight service. This is a mixture of tooling and expertise. So we provide the tooling to look at the environment, point out the security flaws or potential cost implications of things we've deployed, and then the expertise to look at it and provide that real world insight on top of the tooling and potentially take action as well. And as mentioned before, your break fix support will continue to be handled via Microsoft or Amazon for any outages with the cloud itself. If we look then at enablement hours in a little bit more detail, taking a look at Azure, first of all, you can see we have that configuration option. You choose your number of hours per month. But if you look at the service details below, these are things that we've captured from helping clients with reactive engineering. This could be deployment assistance around virtual machines or VM image creation. Performance troubleshooting often has to be a holistic view of problems in the environment. Perhaps you've got a support escalation with Amazon or Microsoft. They've been unable to resolve the issue because it's not necessarily one particular service that's broken there. And you need someone to look at the performance of the application across multiple services or look at the architecture that was defined. Perhaps you've got some routing issues in your network. A lot of network assistance is handled here in Azure with the enablement hours. And then we help with other things like automation assistance, monitoring assistance, identity and security, incident analysis and remediation as well. Amazon, no real different at all. Again, we've got deployment assistance all around those EC2 instances, image creation, the holistic performance troubleshooting, a lot of network assistance around NACLs, virtual service endpoints, etc. Going on then to automation, monitoring, identity, and security, much the same as we have in Azure. And we see the similar requests across both sides. We do see a lot more code on the Amazon side around Lambda functions that we routinely create for customers as well. Well, how do you interact with the support? Well, first of all, you choose your number of hours, and you might start off on 20, ramping up to 80 hours a month. You might go much higher depending on your environment. The goal is just to determine when are you self-sufficient, and then those hours can come down over time as you reach the right amount of people to support your cloud environment and application teams as they continue to put workloads there. When you're ready to engage with the Ahead team, you will have a number of mechanisms to do that. Via Slack channel is one method, or put in a ticket in directly. And the customer success manager will basically respond to that request for you and ensure that a dedicated Copilot engineer is assigned to you to help you with your request. If you're familiar with AWS, you'll get a dedicated engineer focused more on AWS. If you're more working on an Azure project, you'll get an Azure dedicated engineer. That engineer will aim to help resolve your issue. They will try to build the ARM template for you or the CloudFormation template. They will look at your performance troubleshooting issues and try to help you with that there. And if they can't help it or they need a more specialized skill, then they will go to the virtual bench that we have at Ahead. So all of our professional services teams are essentially assigned to the virtual bench periodically, and people are available there to help. So this could be someone from our security team, our ServiceNow team, our Azure team, and we have specialists in there, Amazon team also with specialists in there. Perhaps you need someone more focused on Kubernetes because you're doing a containers project. Someone from that group would then be assigned. The goal being to give you access to Ahead talent. What we hear time and time again from customers is they love working with Ahead because we have experts in cloud and they want access to those experts. So we have our dedicated Copilot engineers that are on the front line, also experts in Azure AWS, and then the wider breadth of team, perhaps even a full dedicated network person that we have from our traditional data center team is often called in to help resolve, network issues between data center and cloud. So plenty of options there to help get your problem resolved and help enable the business. As mentioned, you'll get access to a service portal where you can put in your tickets to basically get help. You can put in your question and your specific area that you're having an issue with, and someone will respond there. Or you can access directly via our Slack channel and think of us as an extension of your team. You can just IM, post a message in there if you ever have an issue and need some help with it. In addition, then, we have Cloud Insights. This now moves us to the proactive part of maintenance. We've got our enablement hours to respond to the business, but how do we keep our environment as this well-oiled machine? And Cloud Insights ultimately is to provide this continuous insight by using that mixture of tooling and intellectual property we've created, combined with our experts that are providing guidance against that tooling. So if we look at Copilot now, we've got alerts, we've got benchmarks, we've got dashboards, we've got reporting, and all of that leads to actionable insights and remediation that we can basically perform for you. The key thing here is you can do monthly or quarterly insight reports depending on your environment. If it's a very, very large environment, you might immediately want to start monthly to try and get things under control. If you're just beginning, quarterly is often good to begin with, and then gradually ramp that up as needed. The way delivery works, if we think of our cloud workloads that are running on the top right, the tooling collects the information, our team analyzes that information, and we provide recommendations back to you, or we can execute on those recommendations through the enablement hours that we already discussed previously. Now let's take a look at this proactive insights in action from a tooling perspective so you can see the dashboards that you'd actually see in the Copilot tooling. Okay, and here we're on the Copilot launch panel, and you can see we've got cost and inventory management, security and compliance, and the service portal, and that's where we would put our various tickets in if we just wanted help from the enablement hours. But to begin with, let's look at cost and inventory management, which I've already got open here. And you can see right now we're in the Azure screen. If I click this, I can switch between AWS and Azure accounts that I have. And straight away you can see we've got security issues, cost issues, availability issues, usage issues. And then we're also pulling in data from Azure Advisor, which is one of the native tools on the Azure platform, and Azure Security Center. And overall, we felt that while that provided some information, it wasn't the complete picture. And so this tooling brings it all together. It gives us that Azure data plus additional data that's been handled in our tooling, plus additional IP that we've developed here as well. And this is going to point out best practices right now. So this is security issues. We've got application gateways here using an unsecure protocol. We've got network security groups created with no resources. Perhaps they just got left around. We've got security groups outbound rules set to all ports. So maybe we haven't fully hardened things appropriately there. So a lot of information here in the best practices section that's really helping advise you on things to do to sort of resolve the environment. The critical ones are in red, then we move down to the less critical, and then just some informational alerts as well. The same thing you'll see for the AWS accounts. If we go in here and select our AWS account, and this can be a multi-account view in AWS, as well as in Azure. And this helps us basically now look at the same sort of thing. Let's look at our best practices associated with AWS. And again, we've got security, cost, availability, and usage issues is there as well. And you can see they're very similar to what we saw on the Azure side, just obviously different services services and different things that we encounter in AWS compared to Azure, because they are very, very different platforms. In addition to the best practices, we also have savings reports, cost reports, inventory reports. The inventory report is one a lot of people look at because they want to see, like, hey, what are the tagged resources I have? Do I have anything untagged in my environment that I need to get control of because perhaps I don't have the right metadata associated with it so I can report on cost effectively? In addition, if we go back to the portal, we can also go to security and compliance, which I've got open here as well. This is provided by Dome9 and configured in CoPilot with our IP. And if we scroll down, this focuses more around specific compliance benchmarks, specific security issues, and is an enhancement on the standard CoPilot tooling. So if we wanted to look at CIS AWS foundations and how we compare, we can go into this and run an assessment, and it will basically tell us how we compare and compare it against those benchmarks. So if you have specific compliance requirements that you're trying to meet, our security team has done a really good job of taking CIS requirements and extending them to say, I want to be HIPAA compliant, I want to be PCI compliant. This is an area that can really help you there as well. And with that, this concludes this overview of CoPilot. Hopefully it explains it to you. You can see again here where CoPilot fits in. And really, just to emphasize again that reactive engineering is core to what we do with CoPilot day in, day out. We're helping customers build those ARM templates, build those cloud formation templates, and help resolve issues in the environment and build new applications in the environment. And it's important to keep the environment as a well-oiled machine from the get-go if you can, but if you've already got a big environment, the goal is to come in and help you remediate it and get costs and security under control. And with that, thank you very much, and would love to have you in to demo further and dive in deeper in your requirements.